All right, welcome back. We are live. We're talking about the giants, angel procreation, and other crazy stuff. Is it in the Bible? Is it not? Is this something that weird, wacky maniacs read into it? Is the Sethite view correct? Which view of Genesis 6 is correct? We're going to discuss this today. Anyways, how are you today, Reformed
Doing
Catholic?
fantastic. Looking forward to hearing this interesting view, to say the least, on the Nephilim in Genesis 6.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. A lot of what I get is from this book, Giants, Sons of the Gods by Douglas Van Dorn. Doug Van Dorn
Okay.
has a lot of good stuff in this book. I like some of his online content. But I'm going to be completely honest with you. He gets a little weird. Oh no, my Ethernet is not plugged in. So it probably, does it look bad right now?
Uh, I don't know its difference.
Okay, well, I'm plugging it back in. Hopefully, it'll be fine. But if it's grainy or if it's laggy, please let me know and I will fix that.
Yeah, I just got Ethernet cable like a couple weeks ago. So
So don't you worry. We're gonna get to this question. Shouldn't all the Nephilim have been destroyed in the flood? We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. So, but before we get to
mm.
that, and we know Rational Logic is going to go ham in the comments. He hates this theory, but my boy Luke Kenton Industries, please check out Kenton Industries. He's got my back, and I expect he'll have my back, so I ain't too worried. Anyways, let's go ahead and go to Genesis 6:4, I suppose. And how are you wanting to do this?
All
Like
right.
just a back and forth, or just me
Yeah, sure. We
rambling?
can. Yeah, we can do. Yeah, we can just like read the text, and then if you want to like make your case first.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we'll start here in 6:1. Though really honestly, we need to start all the way back in Genesis 3, because it says the seed of the woman would crush the head of the snake, and there would be enmity between the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent. And something really interesting is we all agree that the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent, there's spiritual aspects to it. So for instance,
Hmm.
um believers, because you're in Christ, you're the seed of the woman. Whereas those who are not in Christ would be the seed of the serpent spiritually. You can go to First John and kind of see that connection with Cain and Abel. Um, but my view, and we both would agree that there is a physical seed of the woman, but we don't agree that there's a physical seed of the serpent. And I'm saying the physical seed of the serpent is these Nephilim that we're going to read about in Genesis chapter 6. So I think it needs to be both spiritual and physical. Well, anyways, then you go on and you get these genealogies. And the genealogies are there just to show you, hey, where's this seed of the woman going to come? Like that's what we're looking for. So then Genesis 6 takes place when men began to multiply on the face of the land, and daughters were born to them. So this Adam, all mankind, multiplying on the face of the land, and daughters were born to them. The sons of God, who are they? We'll talk about that in a second. Saw that the daughters of men were attractive. So again, I'm saying man here is the same as here, that it's universal. The daughters of humanity were attractive, and they took as their wives any they chose. Then they said, the Lord said, my spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he is flesh. His days shall be 120 years. The Nephilim, or the LXX, the Septuagint says, Gigantes were on the earth in those days, and also afterward. Really? When the sons of God came into the daughters of man. So we got to figure out, what's this sons of God? What's this daughters of man? And they bore
Yeah.
children to them. These were the mighty men of old, the men of renown. And I think I need to look at the Septuagint here as well, because I think it uses like Gigantes again. Yeah.
Yeah. Right
Uh,
there. Yeah.
yeah, it uses it there
Yep.
and there.
Yep.
And what it's doing is it's taking Nephilim and Gibborim and just translating that as giants. So
Okay.
important note. Now, man, see,
Now,
I
how do
could
you?
keep.
All right. How do you understand sons
All
of
right.
men? Go up to verse 2. How do you
Uh-huh.
understand? Or I mean, I'm sorry, sons of God.
Mm-hmm.
In verse 2, sons of God took daughters of men. In verse 2.
Yeah, I'm
Or do
taking
you,
that as the way Clement of Rome did, the angels of God.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, because like
And
you look at the context of the text, right? It starts off when man began to multiply on the face of the land, and daughters were born to them. So, okay, so how do you get where do you get angels there from there?
so according to, well, this is the first time that the phrase B'nai Elohim has been used yet thus far in the scriptures, according to my knowledge.
Mhm.
Yet, um, what we got to understand is a lot of times the author is at the end of his life and looking back at all that happened, and he's writing everything. And so Moses is at the end of his life, all this stuff has happened, and we can tell what sons of God means just by looking at Moses, but we can also look at other Old Testament scriptures like Job. But I'm going to do it the hard way
Well,
first.
because it's all made A2, right? The text from John 10,
Uh-huh.
Christ says he called you sons of God. So how are you distinguishing that this is sons of God, like in the context of this text? Because so we recognize that both angels and Israel or man are called sons of God. So how are you distinguishing, recognizing that it's in particular angels in this text?
So which particular verse are you talking about in John 10?
Psalm 82.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
familiar, but this is we're gonna have to look at John 10 before we
Yeah,
look at.
yeah, John. Yeah, sure. John 10. It's where it's where he said, "I and the Father are one."
Yeah,
So wait, let me sec. One sec.
because you just had a debate and you used this text actually.
Well,
Um,
I used John. I used John 5. Yeah, yeah. But I was around the text. Yep.
so it's John 10,
So
30, 31 to 34. I'm
yeah,
gonna
30.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yep,
I'm gonna share
yep.
my screen real quick, and then
John 10, 34. Yeah,
I'm gonna answer your question.
sure.
Um, uh, after we look at this, the Jews picked up stones again to stone him. Jesus answered them, I've shown you many good works from the Father. For which of them are you going to stone me? The Jews answered him, it is not for a good work that we are going to stone you, but for blasphemy, because you, being a man, make yourself God. Jesus answered them, is it not written in your law, I said you are gods? Now, I don't think here he's telling the Pharisees, I've said you are gods. Like I don't think that's what he's referring to. I think he's taking Psalm 82 and applying it to himself and saying, basically going from this, he's doubling down and saying, and we talked about this. You're like, yeah, he's doubling down. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lesser to a greater argument. And I'm like, well, no, I think he's actually saying, I am the God of Psalm 82 who's going to judge these angelic beings, which now we're going to have to look at that real quick.
Yeah, because in Psalm 82, yeah, we can go pull up that. Right. So it says
Mm-hmm.
right there in verse 6, I said, you are gods, sons of the Most High, all of you. Nevertheless, like men, you shall die and fall like any prince.
So my
So in the
question,
context of this psalm, he's talking to
mhm,
Israel, right?
I
That's who he's
don't think
talking
so.
to. Really?
This is why I don't
Okay.
think so, because God has taken his place in the divine council. This heavenly council isn't anything to do with the people of Israel. This is God and his angelic beings. We know that because the end of Second Kings, we see the divine council there, where God is like, um, we who we're going to send a lying prophet to these to these guys because these prophets are so horrible. Who's going to go? And then this guy comes up. So the divine council is that sort of meeting between God and the other Elohim, the angelic beings. And that's why it's saying in the midst of the Elohim, he holds judgment. And the reason I think that this is important is because then it says, you are Elohim, which most often, like there are rare times where human beings are called Elohim because of their position. But I think in light of the context of divine counsel and this verse here, we have to take it as angelic beings because he says, you are gods, nevertheless, you shall die like men. And you're not going to tell a man you're going to die like another man. You would tell this actually has oomph to it. If you're telling an angelic being, you're going to die like a man. And then I think Jesus is saying, arise, O God, judge the earth, for you shall inherit the nations. Well, we know the God who judges the earth, that's Jesus Christ. The God who inherits the nations, Jesus Christ, Matthew 28:18. So I think in John 10, he's saying, he's like hinting at this and saying, I'm that guy, do something about it.
Interesting. So when you go up, to like verses 2 through 5, for instance, how would you exegete these verses?
Okay,
Judge
now
and give
this
justice
is
to the weak. Yeah.
this is going to move me into once again to proving why sons of God means what it does. So just hang on one second. It says, how long will you judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? Selah. God at Babel, he divided the nations according to these angelic beings and said, you're going to rule here, you're going to rule here, you're going to rule here, and you're all doing it under my headship. But instead they rule and judge unjustly, and they're
At
wicked. They got,
Babel, do you like?
yes,
Okay, are you getting this from the Bible or are you getting this from extra? Okay, Deuteronomy 32.
yes,
Okay.
that's why I was saying we go to Moses first to determine what sons of God's mean.
Okay.
So when the Most High, that will be God, gave to the nations their inheritance, when he divided mankind, that would be Babel, right? He fixed the borders of the peoples according to the number of the sons of God. Now, need to note, there's a textual variant here. The Masoretic text says sons of Israel, but the
Oh, okay.
the
All right.
yeah, we have to note that. But the Septuagint says angels of God. Clement 29:2 says angels of God. And the Dead Sea Scrolls say sons of God. And my Hebrew professor, who holds to the Sethite view, says that the earliest manuscripts should be sons of God.
Okay. All right.
And so if my and listen, this is why this makes sense.
Hmm.
Because when Daniel's praying and Gabriel's coming to him, he's like, sorry, I was shooting the fade with the Prince of Persia. That's why it took so long for me to get here to you. Why? Because the Prince of Persia was not just a human being, it was a like a heavenly or divine type being that was over that area, or we would say demonic. It was
Yeah.
a demonic force. And that's, I believe, what's being talked about here is that at Babel, he gave to the nations their inheritance and he divided mankind and he set up these angelic beings over him. But the Lord's portion, Yahweh's portion, is his people.
Hmm.
Jacob is allotted heritage. So God basically is challenging it, like he's basically saying, I'm going to take this one, but the goal, his ultimate goal, is he knows they're going to fall. And his ultimate, like, he knows these other angels are going to suck, Psalm 82. And his ultimate goal is to inherit the nations. He's going to start from this tiny little plot of land and he's going to just destroy them all to show off his power. And he does that at the cross, you know, the principalities and the powers are thwarted and all that. But
Mhm.
again, my point is, even Moses uses sons of God to refer to angelic beings if Clement and the Septuagint are correct. And I don't know how else this could be interpreted. If it's like, how else is he fixing the borders of the people according to the numbers of the sons of God? Well, I don't know how else that could be taken. So if that's true, then Genesis 6 is talking about the angelic beings in Genesis 6 too. Plus, if you just go to Job and all the other places that use B'nai Elohim in the Bible, it's always talking about angelic beings.
So the idea is that so what I heard you say, right? The idea behind this is that God at Babel, when he dispersed all the peoples, he put different fallen angels or angels of his own in charge of different areas,
Yes.
and he himself took a specific area when he called Israel, or
Yep.
is that what I heard you saying? Okay. All
Yep.
right. When he called Abraham or when he called Israel?
So, I mean, I think like
Right.
it was always a part of
Mhm.
his plan to be like, I'm going to start here in Canaan. And then obviously you get to Genesis 12 and we start to find out, yeah, that's what this is talking about. It starts there with this small promised land. And then we know Romans chapter 4 that the promised land was always meant to cover the entire earth.
Okay. All right. I mean, this is so sons of God, how you would understand sons of God here. Now, if you're going to be consistent with the Sethite view, then you would have to understand it to be, um, like the Sethite line, right? That's the consistent. That would be the consistent view, or those
Okay.
who are faithful to God, right? I mean, am I right or am I?
So that's yeah. If we were if I held a
If we're
Sethite view,
holding, yeah, theoretically, if I was holding to the if I'm holding to the Sethite view or interpretation of Genesis 6, then coming here, I'm gonna have to understand this text to be the same thing.
yeah, and that's what I'm wondering is how to do that. I've never had anyone explain to me
Interesting.
how to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I can see the conundrum. Yeah, definitely.
And this Massey spot on. That's why Naaman wanted to take back some of the soil from Israel back home. Um, they believed different gods or demons controlled different parts of the world, and they're like, "Oh, well, this is Israel. This is Yahweh's place. I want to take that back with me."
Isn't it scary? This is just a side thought, but isn't it scary that now that we don't think like, like nations in our modern times, we don't think like this at all. We don't think as if worshiping gods or that there is even a spiritual realm. Isn't that scary? Like that's
Yeah, I
that's a
think
little
it
crazy.
is, but I think there's a reason. Hashtag that post mill because Jesus has all authority.
Oh
They
yeah,
once
okay.
they God's one time was like, yeah, I'm gonna let y'all little peasants
Hmm.
who I created. I'm gonna let y'all do y'all's thing over there. But Jesus comes, crushes them at the cross, and he has all authority in heaven and on earth, and they're gone. But no, guys, it's not henotheism because henotheism would mean that these are actually gods. They're not, they're created beings. These are just created angelic beings.
Yeah, I understand
The
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 position. Yeah.
Bible, the Bible's the one that calls them Elohim, not me. I'm saying angels. Angels ruled certain provinces. That's the book of Daniel. Like it has nothing to do with me. What else is the Prince of Persia there? Like, and I'm just saying I may not be super clear about it, but I am not espousing henotheism. There is one God, Yahweh,
Yeah.
eternally existent in three persons. Everything else is inferior created beings. I just had to. Okay,
Oh,
I'm glad you get.
rational.
I'm glad you
Of
get it.
course.
I just had to.
Of
I just
course, it's
had to make sure.
rational.
He always is throwing shots at me. I love that guy. So we went on this kind of rant, but
Yeah, yeah,
I want to
yeah. I
show
just
it from
yeah.
Job as well.
Go ahead. Yeah, go Job.
Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and
That's Job
Satan
1. Yeah,
also
okay.
came among them.
Sorry.
Well, we know that this is in heaven. That's why they're presenting themselves before the Lord. And this is kind of another like divine council looking text. But when it says sons of God there, angels. Unless you're not cool with that and want me to prove it further from the context, and then I can do that. Oh, wait, I didn't even go to
No,
it
that
on the
makes
right
sense.
tab.
That makes sense. And there's I think there's also is in the Psalms or is in Job where it says that the sons of God rejoiced when the Lord created the heavens and earth.
Yeah, that's either it may be 2:1 or 38:7. Like there, because
Mhm.
I think 2:1 uses the language as well. Let me just next chapter. The sons of God present themselves before the Lord. So it must be the 38:7, and that's what I was kind of thinking. But dang
Okay.
it, Jerry, you got to type Job 38:7. That's the way Blue Letter Bible works.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is the sons of God shouted for joy. Okay.
and all right, so we could go back to Genesis 6 because I feel like I've shown reasonably why I hold
Yeah.
to that being that.
Yeah, okay.
And the daughters of man, I'm not taking this to be a single line of like
Well,
the
I just had some questions before we go there. I just had some
all right.
questions about so like Psalm 82. So you understand that as like angels judging areas.
Basically like having like a certain authority over that area, and they were basically just like my understanding of them judging areas was they were basically convincing people to worship them. And when you read Justin Martyr, he's kind of saying the same thing. He's like, you guys are just worshiping demons. Like,
Interesting. Okay. All right. Go ahead with Genesis 6.
all right. And so the the daughters of man here I'm keeping Adam man the same as here because man began to multiply. That would be all men. So the daughters of man isn't one line, it's all men. And these angelic beings saw that they were attractive and took as their wives any they chose. And this results in the Nephilim because it says the Gigantes or the Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward when the sons of God came in to the daughters of man. And we know that came in, it refers to like
Yeah.
procreation, and
Yeah.
they bore children to them. These were the mighty men, the Gibberim, Septuagint, the Gigantes, the giants who were of old, men of renown. And so that's why I hold what I do. But just quickly, Irenaeus comments on Genesis 6, and he says this: and for a very long while, wickedness extended and spread and reached and laid hold upon the whole race of mankind until a very small seed of righteousness remained among them. And illicit unions took place upon the earth, since angels were united with the daughters of the race of mankind, and they bore to them the sons who for their exceeding greatness were called giants. And that's in a discourse in the demonstration of apostolic preaching.
So they possess them is the position, right? They
Um,
possess them, or was something more than that? It was like a covenant relationship.
well, it seems to say like there's illicit unions, which I think would be procreation, and they bore to them sons. So that seems like begettal language. So it seems to that Irenaeus believed that it was angels procreating with humans. And I got another quote from him.
So God gave them the power to procreate, but then would have to be the conclusion.
Well, I don't know if like God necessarily like okay, obviously I think God gave them the ability to like change forms to some extent because we see
Mhm.
all kinds of different forms of angels, and the men in Sodom and Gomorrah certainly thought that those angels had the ability to procreate. I mean, they were wanting to, or well, we'll say not necessarily procreate, but engage in
They
coitus.
want to do something bad.
Yeah, they couldn't have procreated, but they were trying to do some bad stuff. And
Yeah.
like we know even though they're spiritual, they eat and all kinds of stuff like that. So I don't see why they couldn't.
Okay, so could that happen today?
That's a good question. Man, that is a really good question. I'm going to say no.
Because of Christ having all power and authority,
That's what I'm going to
right?
go with.
Okay.
I've never, there actually are people, and there are people who believe the way that I do who get really weird when they read the book of Revelation. And they're like, it's going to happen again. The angels are going to be released from their chains,
Mhm.
and there's going to be these Nephilim. And I'm like, man, look, I don't read Revelation like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I could be wrong about my reading of Revelation, and if so,
Yeah.
then that's entirely possible. But we know from the New Testament that the angels that did such are like locked up in chains. Now, there are other fallen angels who aren't, but these specific ones, according to it's either I think it's Jude 6 and First Peter 3:19 or something that says they were locked up. But I got more
Okay.
early church father quotes.
All right, go ahead.
So Irenaeus says again, and in the days of Noah, he justly brought on the deluge for the purpose of extinguishing that most infamous race of men then existent, who could not bring forth fruit to God, since the angels that sinned had commingled with them and acted as he did in order that he might put a check upon the sins of these men, but at the same time that he might preserve the archetype, the formation of Adam. That one's like a commingled with them. That seems I would want to look at the Greek. I don't know. But then Ambrose on Noah, it says this: the giants, the Nephilim, were on the earth in those days. The author of the divine scripture does not mean that those giants must be considered according to the tradition of poets as sons of the earth, but assert that those whom he defines with such a name, because of the extraordinary size of their body, were generated by angels and women. And I could quote to you Pseudo Clement, Homily 8, 13, 17,
Mhm.
Philo on giants, um, and then
Philo, huh?
Tertullian. Tertullian seems to believe that the reason you had to wear of women needed to wear a veil was so the angels wouldn't be tempted to procreate with them. It's really weird, bro.
What? Wait, 1 Corinthians 11. So where it says they wear a head covering for the sake of the angels. It means so they what?
And look, bro, if you read
What's the
Tertullian on
reasoning there? What's the rational there?
So I'll tell you the rationale of Michael Heiser. I think it's crazy and ludicrous, and I think that Tertullian bumped his head when he wrote this. But
Okay.
essentially, according to Heiser, back then they thought that the woman's hair was kind of like genitalia, and that it would draw the male seed. I'm trying to be as clean as possible. Um, Up into them to make them more likely to bear fruit, and so they had to cover up the genitalia of their hair. It's stupid. It's really stupid.
Wow, that's crazy. Uh yeah, anyway, let's move past that.
Now, real
Uh
quick, wisdom. Wait, real quick. Wisdom of
yeah.
Solomon is interesting. So, Wisdom of Solomon 14, 5, and 6. It is your will that the works of your wisdom should not be sterile. Thus, men entrust their lives even to the most fragile wood, and they safely reach land even after sailing through the waves on a raft. For in the beginning, when arrogant giants were being destroyed, the hope of the world took refuge on a raft, and guided by your hand, bequeathed the world the seed of a new generation. And then, of course, we got Enoch and all that other type stuff, which Jude mentions a
So
lot.
you would
So,
understand that these Nephilim were destroyed in the flood.
correct.
Okay. So they don't. So, because doesn't it talk about Goliath and giants being like the Nephilim or something like that?
It actually uses the same exact word in Numbers 13. It calls them the
Okay.
Nephilim. And Nephilim, the word for that is like comes from Nephal, which is the fallen ones. They're the fallen ones because their parents were angels. But anyways, how are they still in existence, you're asking? Or at least that's what I'm assuming you're implying. Is okay, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward. So not just in these days where the flood's about to happen, but also afterwards. And then it explains how they're there. When the sons of God came into the daughters of men and they bore children to them. I think it happened twice. At least twice.
Really? So before and after the flood? Is that how you're understanding this text?
That's how I'm understanding it. Because I think when could imply whenever that happened. Because if the Nephilim were on the earth and afterwards, and it tells us how they came about when the sons of God came into the daughters of men and bore children to them, that implies it had to happen more than once. Now, there's other people who say that maybe Ham's wife had some Nephilim blood. I don't think so. There's other people who will say there's like some sort of tradition, intertestamental tradition that said like Og hung onto the back of the ark or some stupid crap and Noah fed him through a window. There's really dumb ideas, but I think if we just read the text, I think it at least leaves open the possibility that it happened again. Now, Doug Wilson would say the giants in Numbers 13 were not the byproduct of angelic and human offspring, but are simply like NBA basketball players. And I'm like, no, ain't no way, bro.
No.
Ain't no way.
I mean, because we do have really tall men, even in modern times, right? We have guys that are approaching like at least in the 7-foot range, which is only 2 feet away from Goliath.
Well, unless you take the Greek Septuagint rendering, and then he was like 6'9" or some garbage.
Oh, really?
I think so.
What?
But basically, according to my understanding, dude was 10 foot tall and was wearing chainmail that was like 300 pounds.
Yeah, 9
And like,
foot. Yeah, something changed. Yeah.
I would love to see Shaq move in chainmail or chain shirt the way that Goliath would have. Like, I mean, you would have to be able to move in a way that you could fight, you got to move quickly. Especially back then, they don't have plate armor, so they can't just bonk. They can't take the bonks.
Yeah.
They got to be agile. So Goliath was a monster. And I don't see that coming about because we produce according to our kind. I don't see that sort of monstrosity, especially since they have 6 fingers. I mean, that happens through inbreeding, I know, but they probably were inbreeding because they wanted to keep the giant population going. But I don't see that happen through human and humans, what I'm saying.
Interesting. Okay, so Numbers 13:33.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
the
we'll go
Israelite
there.
spies explored the. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
So they're bringing this bad report, and they said the land through which we have gone to spy it out is a land that devours its inhabitants. Interesting language there, because the Nephilim, when you read it, all kinds of stuff, they're known to be like cannibalistic sort of people. Now that is not coming from scripture, but just coming from outside sources. Interesting. And all the people that we saw are of great height. And there we saw the Nephilim, the sons of Enoch, who come from the Nephilim. So apparently the Anakim are some type of Nephilim, which interesting. Anakim, Anakin, Nephilim, Great Height, Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker. George Lucas is just taken from the Bible. But anyways, and we seem to ourselves like grasshoppers, and so we seemed to them. So these were some massive dudes, man.
So okay, so the blood, so when okay, so how to understand this? So you're saying that they could take physical, that these angels, or yeah, these angels could have physical form, and that's how they procreated with these women?
Yes, the same way they could eat. They took physical form, they ate stuff like that, and I believe they procreated, and that created these giants. And these giants were called the Nephilim, who basically, in a lot of places, had themselves exalted as gods and worshipped. That's not in the Bible. That's exterior sources. But you read something like, what's that really silly one the Babylonians put out about
Writing or
yeah. It's like this old writing, and it mentions Noah in it. And the dude, he's trying to like seek eternal life. Come on, chat.
oh, I can't remember. Oh, it's about the flood. Is that what you're talking? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he mentions it, but I think that what Gilgamesh, thank you. I mean, like, I have no
Yeah, that's
problem
it. Yeah.
saying like, yeah, Gilgamesh might have been a real dude, and he was half giant, and he was just why wouldn't Noah save him? Because he's a jackwagon. Okay, but the Babylonians were like, no, it's not about Yahweh and his people. It's about the city. That's how you get immortality, is through the city, through promoting our own kind and our own greatness. Just
Mm-hmm.
like Babel. Just like they were doing at Babel, trying to make a great name for themselves, where God is the one who makes the great name for Abraham. I'm sorry, I'm rambling at this point.
No, you're good. Yeah, so it's so all right. So
Wait, what,
mhm.
Chad? I need you to know. Yeah, I need you to clarify. What are you talking about? Thomas Aquinas believed this, because if Aquinas agrees with me, then that gives me a little weight, bro. Like, and I didn't know if he did. I just know that only until Julianus Africanus, which was probably like 160 AD to 200 AD, somewhere in there, I can't find the Sethite view until then. I'm just always finding my view. Just
Uh-huh.
you know,
Yeah, that they're
but
able to take physical form. Okay. Because we do see angels taking, like even the angel of the Lord, like Christ, taking a physical form. But does that mean they could actually procreate? That's interesting. I don't know. But I do see the sons of God argument that
he's
if you take that word,
he says I got Aquinas. I'm
he
sorry,
believes. Okay.
I got
He
Aquinas,
believes
baby.
you believe.
And Sproul said Aquinas was like the greatest theologian ever before Calvin. So
Interesting. Sproul said that? No
yeah,
way.
yeah, Sproul loved Aquinas.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, he's a Sproul is a scholastic. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
how would this so what relevance would this have for today?
it's
Or like
okay.
yeah, yeah.
It's really cool, bro.
Okay,
No,
here we go.
but in all seriousness, when you look across the world and you see, oh man, in Mexico, they were like building these pyramids to try to call down gods, and they were
Yeah.
talking about a great flood. Like we clap when we see the flood mentioned across the world in these myths, because we're like, yeah, see, look, that's evidence, because okay, after the flood, then after Babel, they're scattered. Of course, things aren't going to be perfect. They're going to get things wrong, but there's going to maintain some truth. And a lot of evidentialists will point to the flood narratives all across the earth and say, see, that's how you know Genesis 6 is true. If not, you have to close your eyes to all the evidence, atheists. And I'm saying that the Sethite view has to do the same thing, because whether it's the Greeks, the Romans, the Aztecs, they all have something about a tower, a flood, angels and men and giants. Like there's, and even in Native American folklore, there's these giants. Well, I don't want to argue like the atheist and say, no, none of that's true. I'm just going to say there's grains of truth in it, which ultimately come from the Bible, where you can have all truth. And that's what Justin Martyr did in his, in one of his discussions. It's like in chapter 5 or something. He's basically arguing like, yeah, the things that you believed are like kind of real, but you're off on the fact that those are actually demons that you're worshiping, not actual gods, because there's one God who created these fallen beings who are trying to lie. So I mean, I don't know. I think it can be used apologetically. Now, as for how is it in my everyday Christian walk? Well, I make sure my wife wears a head covering so the angels don't try to. No, I'm just playing. Just playing. It's irrelevant in that area.
See, yeah, I always interpreted that text in 1 Corinthians 11 to mean, and I'm actually in pro head coverings. That pro head coverings. That's another conversation we could have if you wanted to. But so I always interpret that text to mean because the angels, when they're in the presence of God, they cover their faces.
And see, my understanding of that is just telling women that they should look like women, because it's literally like kata skew something, which just means down the back.
Yeah,
and I think that's what it's saying. Just don't dress and try to look like a boy.
Yeah. So okay, so you don't believe that any of these beings exist right now?
Oh, they exist. They're just not here
right now.
They're not here. We killed them all.
So they're in. So where does one of these go when it departs from the earth?
That's an interesting question. So, according to my belief, they just go straight to hell. Now, according to some people, the Nephilim, they're also called the Rephaim. And then when you look throughout Scripture, Rephaim is used for demonic spirits. Some people, I don't believe this, but some people will take those words and say that demons are actually the souls of the Nephilim that are trapped on earth. I think that's really weird. But then people point to the New Testament and be like, see, it's the seed of the woman crushing the head of the snake again. And I'm like, you're right about that, but I disagree on where you're going with that. I think they just go straight to hell. And then we ain't even gotten to like the New Testament interpretation of this, like in Jude 1, 6. You want to look at that real quick?
Sure. I would say, couldn't you also? I was just thinking, as we're talking, could you not also interpret Genesis 6? Even if you were gonna understand sons of God to be angels, could you not also interpret it as the angels possessing men that procreated with women?
I think there might be people who take that view,
and then them being endowed with special gifts because they were, or special physical gifts because they were possessed by the devil or demons.
Dang, what do you think about that? I think okay. I think that's a really good idea. I think that's plausible. But Veckel said for a minute I thought Twitchy was talking with fake JD Vance. Dang, bro, he calls you JD Vance. Yo, I
That's
wish,
funny.
I wish
I've been
RC,
told I look like JD Vance. I don't know. That's weird.
bro. I
Go
wish
ahead.
that you was the dang vice president, dude.
I think this is like the second time that I've been called JD Vance. We've been on your stream, we've been streaming together. The second time I've been called JD Vance. I don't know what it is.
All right, so Jude 1 is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start in 4. For certain people have crept in unnoticed who long ago were designated for this condemnation. By the way, this is a great reprobation text. They were long ago, or if you look at the Greek here, where is it? I can't remember. There's an argument from the word long ago, and I lost it. But anyway, sorry. Great reprobation text.
Yeah.
They were designated or appointed for this condemnation, ungodly people who pervert the grace of our God into sensuality and deny our only Master and Lord Jesus Christ. Now, I want to remind you, although you once fully knew it, that Jesus, who saved a people out of the land of Egypt, that's right, Unitarians, Jesus saved a people out of the land of Egypt. Stop being idiots. Afterwards, destroyed those who did not believe. Now we know what they did. They laid down, they rose up to play, right? They had a wild little orgy going on. Okay. Now then in verse 7, I'm skipping 6 for a second. Just as Sodom and Gomorrah and the surrounding cities, which likewise indulged in sexual immorality and pursued unnatural desire, serve as an example by undergoing a punishment of eternal fire. So they likewise indulged. Well, who's mentioned before? And the angels who did not stay within their own position of authority, but left their proper dwelling. He is kept in eternal chains under gloomy darkness until the judgment of the great day. So if likewise refers to 5 only, that's kind of weird that you would just insert 6 out of nowhere. But it would seem likewise needs to refer to 5 or to 6 and 5 as well.
In a similar manner. Okay.
So like they pursued sexual morality. Well, when did angels have anything to do with sexual morality? Genesis 6.
Okay.
And
he has kept in eternal chains under gloomy darkness until the judgment of the great day.
And that's why this verse here, this phrase here is why some people are like, demons aren't fallen angels. Demons are the offspring, the spirits, like the Rephaim, the Nephilim died, and their spirits come back and they're demons. That's what this verse is why people, one of the reasons why people assume that, and the word Rephaim and how it's used. I think that some of the angels were kept in chains, and then there's some that were allowed to continue. And I do know that Aquinas agreed with me there because I agree. I read that today.
Okay. Yeah, it's just interesting to me. I mean, how would you make sense of an angel or like a demon? What would be procreating with a human? What does that seed look like? That's why I was suggesting, could it be that they took control of men and that happened?
In Genesis, like I think it's 19, they just like the angels look like regular dudes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they can take like dude form. And I think they can take just like a male human form. And that would be how, but possession's possible too. But just to answer the side, and I'm sorry, I'm side chat. I'm not getting to you guys, but like, there's a lot of y'all in the chat, and like, if you send a super chat, I promise you, I'll get to it. I'm sorry, but I can't get to everything. But basically, I think God changed them probably immediately after that happened, after they fell and did that. And then I think other angels did it too because they're stupid. But I don't know. But it makes a lot of sense too when you look at the world. Like,
Interesting.
women are the most. Let me pull up. Women are easily the most beautiful thing in creation, bro. Rainbows suck. When you compare the beauty of a woman to the beauty of a freaking rainbow, women outclass that by a mile. And so the
Yeah.
angels, of course, they're not like they're like, I'm leaving, bro. They got it better down there. Them little peon humans got it better. Look at that wife God done gave them. I'm mad. Man, that's what I'm saying. It's possible, but I know you're doing some stuff right now. But I'm gonna pull up another text while you're doing that. Don't worry. Um, let's
Give me a sec here.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Oh man, I'm actually gonna read Justin Martyr because I got it. I forgot that I have Justin Martyr. Second Apology 5. God, when he made the whole world and subjected things earthly to man and arranged the heavenly elements for the increase of fruits and rotations of the seasons and appointed this divine law, for these things also he evidently made for man, committed the care of men and of all things under heaven to angels whom he appointed over them. But the angels transgressed this appointment and were captivated by the love of women and begot children, who are those that are called demons. So Justin Martyr held in my view too.
What
And
is
if
this?
you
Where is this? Where are you going from? It's in what work of just writing of Justin Martyr? Because I have all
second
his.
second apology 5.
Okay.
And there's more in the back of this book. There's a ton
Mhm.
of early church and intertestamental period stuff. He even quoted Julius Africanus, who I don't think he did a good job on it, but everybody else I think did a pretty good job other than him. And then Augustine, he whiffs on it, but
Augustine doesn't believe it.
no, he don't. But even Eusebius, kind of mentions it.
Okay.
But we could go over. I could read them, or we
Yeah,
could.
yeah, I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to the view, and I definitely see the. But so you would see that viable that it was it could be describing um angels taking captive or possessing men and it happening that way.
Well,
Do you see do you see that as a viable understanding?
Yeah, I have no problem with that because that actually makes sense of a lot of different scriptures. Like, we know that fallen angels can possess people. You
Yeah.
see that in the New Testament. And some people are like unsure, like, oh, well, I don't think angels can do this. I'm like, well, no, they're not supposed to. Jesus says they're not supposed to when they're in heaven. Um, you know, uh, you'll be like the angels in heaven who are neither married nor given in marriage. Therefore, those angels in heaven do not procreate, but maybe the ones who came to heaven did, or came to earth did. But your solution solves the problem easily. They could have possessed somebody and did it. And it explains how giants come out of this union. Giants that are like 10 foot tall and
Yeah.
smacking people at 300-pound swords and crap.
So okay, so I got a couple questions here.
All right.
One from Tina to go with Jude, Second Peter 4. What did that be saying that he put them in outer darkness right away in chains?
Yes, that's actually one of the places I was wanting to go next.
And then another question was so angels were from Melody, angels were male and produced sperm. Well, I mean that's yeah.
I do think, I don't know of there's like one place in Zechariah that like talks about a woman who looks like a stork, and people are like, there's a female angel, and I'm like, I don't think so. I think all the angels look like males. Um, but I could be wrong about that. But I think If they could eat and break down the food, they got something going on in their digestive system now, but they're spirits. So that means they would have had to adapt and get some sort of physical body so that they were able to do that. And we know they ate with Abraham. So, yeah, man. Or they could have possessed people.
What's that? Yeah, possessed. Yeah, possessed people. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sorry that I'm neglecting you guys.
Understanding.
Yeah, yeah. 74-day process. Peter? Man, I don't know if it's 74 days. But I'm not no biologist, but okay. Anyways, for if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell, and I think this is Tartarus, yep, and committed them to chains of, and what is this? Pits of gloomy darkness to be kept until the judgment. If he did not spare the ancient world, but preserved Noah, a herald of righteousness with 7 others, when he brought a flood upon the world of the ungodly, if by turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah to ashes, he condemned them to extinction, making them an example of what is going to happen to the ungodly, he will rescue the godly from trials. Okay. But the point, it keeps connecting Sodom and Gomorrah and these angels and their sinning. And it says they're cast into Tartarus or hell, committed them to chains, Jude. And it connects with Noah, Genesis 6. But it's not clear as to why. Like, what did they do? Like, Peter doesn't tell us. But he hints at it maybe by referring to Sodom and Gomorrah and other sensuality and other type of stuff that could refer to that. Yeah. It's a hint. But another one, I have a question before we go here. What does the Apostles' Creed mean? He descended into hell. How do you take that?
So I would like so Hades, right? So we have Abraham's bosom. I think Peter's pretty clear there in 1 Peter 3. He descended into Abraham's bosom. Those who were there, before, those who were being held in Hades that were believers in Abraham's bosom, Christ ascended down. He preached to the ungodly, and then he ascended up and took them up to heaven.
He preached. Okay. Yeah. Good. I'm making sure we're on the same page. A lot of Reformed people were like, well, he descended into hell just means he went through hell on the cross. I'm like, no, it doesn't.
No, he actually descended into Hades. Yes.
Like, there's an order there. He was crucified under Pontius Pilate, buried and then descended.
Yes.
Like, there's an order.
He suffered and was buried. He descended into hell.
Yeah. So, okay, we agree there. I just bring that up because 1 Peter 3, I think it's 19, mentions this.
Yeah.
For Christ also suffered once for the sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, that he might bring us to God, being put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the spirit, in which he went and proclaimed to the spirits in prison, because they formerly did not obey, when God's patience waited in the days of Noah. Now, a lot of the early church that I read today seemed to indicate that Christ was preaching the gospel to the Old Testament saints, and I think that's ludicrous. I think he went and proclaimed victory, or preached his victory, to the spirits in prison, and those spirits in prison are Jude 1:6 angels that left their abode.
Oh,
Genesis 6.
Interesting.
And they didn't obey. Like, because Abraham's saved by faith the same way that we are. So, like, I don't think that he needs the gospel preached to him. He had the gospel preached to him according to Romans. He already had the gospel.
I don't think that the believers Yeah, how I would understand it is he's preaching to right those unbelievers. He's preaching his victory. He's preaching the gospel, which to them really means nothing, right? Well, it means their destruction, basically.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's what he's doing too. But it specifically calls these the spirits in prison because they formerly did not obey. When was that? When God's patience waited in the days of Noah. Now, another view that I've heard of this is like for some reason, Peter goes back and says he's like preaching through Noah, like the Spirit was like Jesus through the
Yeah,
Spirit was preaching through Noah, and I'm
no,
like, it just doesn't make sense of the text. I'm sorry.
that doesn't make sense. No, yeah, I'm sorry. It doesn't make sense at all. Yeah.
Wait, we got a Nephilim in the chat? We do. Nexus says Calvinism's not logical. I'm so sad I don't know what I'm going to do now. We love you, Nexus. You are my favorite.
It's not logical.
You are my favorite Calvinist troll. We love you. We are clowns with shoes.
Is that why Augustine was also a Calvinist? Is because it's not logical?
I guess.
He's making the same arguments.
Yeah, Augustine, he gets the most flack. Like, dude, Augustine and Constantine get the most flack in Christian history. It's insane.
Yeah.
The Baptists are like, dang, look, calm down. My people will put you in a timeout. They'll put you in the corner, Playboy.
Wait, you say moron.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Behold the fruit of anti-Calvinism.
You know where that came? That word came from. I was looking at it actually yesterday. It came from. That's the Greek word for fool that Jesus uses when he says when he's calling the Pharisees out. He calls them, "Whoa, you fools." He used the word moros.
Mm-hmm.
Greek word, yeah.
Yeah, and where it says they will consider it folly. The gospel is folly to those who are perishing. It's moron, kind of. They think it's moronic, which yeah. There's definitely some CDS going on. And what are you talking about? This is the best YouTube video you've ever been a part of. And I keep wanting somebody to debate me on this because I know.
Man, no, you're arguing pretty convincing arguments, honestly.
Rational logic, we don't need him. He'll just. I love rational logic, but he's gonna chat GPT me and yell at me and tell me I'm not reformed. Well, me and him's went over this. He's like, no reformed people ever held to this, and I'm like, I don't care.
How does that make you not reformed? I don't understand.
I don't know. Because reformed is just confessional. It's
not a salvific view. It's not
yeah.
It's not something that your confessions say you cannot hold to.
It's not against any creeds. Matter of fact, it goes with the creeds.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not anti-Calvinistic. Like,
yeah. Now, but if I can understand that text in Genesis 6, right, as demons possessing men, then that would still I could still keep the Sethite view. No, I could still understand those men to be. Well, I guess it wouldn't. I guess it wouldn't matter because the sons of God there would refer to angels.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say the daughters of men.
Yeah,
would be. Huh. Yeah. Here's what you could do. You
build a straw man to feed 1,000 horses.
What are you talking about? There was no straw man. I just exegeted the Bible.
Now the question is there any place that the scriptures where scriptures call God or men sons of God? I mean, we're called the sons of God, right? So
Yeah, I would say it in a different sense, but
okay. But not in the
um,
Old Testament. There's no place in the Old Testament where we are called or where Israel is called sons of God, you would say.
I don't know.
Mhm.
I actually think there may be. I think there may be.
Okay.
Um,
Because
well,
that if I imagine if they would push I imagine if you know the position would push back, they would that's where they would push back. Is there a place where and let me just check here. Um
I don't see it. I don't see it. I'm seeing all I see that's literally sons of God is Genesis 6:2, 4, Deuteronomy 32:8, Job 1:6, Job 2:1, Job 38:7, and then it gets to New Testament, Matthew 5:9. Blessed
okay.
are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. And just to answer something from in the chat earlier, no, we don't become angels. Like I don't think that's what it's saying. I think that it's saying, um, I mean, obviously we have this sort of like union with Christ, making us adopted children of God. So I think it's being used in a different sense. But Luke 20:36 says, for they cannot die anymore because they are equal to angels and are sons of God, being sons of the resurrection. But we also know we're going to judge angels. So we're actually kind of above them too. But I don't
Yeah.
think, I think they're used differently.
Yeah. So the fact that we judging angels makes that's why I understood that's why I was first interpreting Psalm 82 to be men, right, or to be judges in Israel, because like if you interpret that angels, don't you have to say that angels are in a sense judging us?
Well, I think there was a time when they had the authority in those areas, and maybe they did, but
Okay.
definitely not now.
Okay. Because they
This
were
isn't
enslaved
this
to
isn't
Satan or
good
something like
debating.
that. Interesting.
I asked for someone to debate me. This isn't debating. This is acting like Bryson Gray. Don't be like Bryson Gray.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think that I think it's a viable position. I do think that now I do think if you hold to that they were angel spirit beings procreating with women, that you're gonna have you're gonna have to deal with some logical questions, right? That follow from that. But if you're gonna say that, well, these were men that were uh taken over by demons, that could be more then you wouldn't have necessarily have problems with procreation.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I see that, and I see how there's like these questions, but they don't. I don't know. They just don't really bother me. I'm like, hey, they ate. I think it's weird that spirit beings eat, but they did. Um, so it doesn't bother me too much. But I do think the possession idea is viable.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But okay, they're wanting me to give my Genesis 3 argument again.
Okay. All right. Wait, Genesis 3 or Genesis 6? Oh, Genesis 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The seed of the woman will crush the seed of the serpent.
Yep.
Right.
So
Okay.
I will put enmity between you and the woman. This is the devil and
Mm-hmm.
Eve, and between your offspring, that's Satan's offspring, and her offspring, that would be the seed of the woman. So
Yes.
um I believe there is a physical seed of both. Well, first we'll just start with spiritual. There's a spiritual seed of both. We know from it's somewhere in First John 3. we should not be like Cain, who was of the evil one. He
Yeah.
was of the evil one
Yeah.
and murdered his brother. Now, obviously, he's not of the evil one in a literal sense. Okay. Satan did not
Correct.
procreate with Eve, despite what some weirdos say on the internet, and murdered his brother. And why did he murder him? Because his own deeds were evil and his brothers were righteous. So there's like the seed of the serpent murdering the seed of the woman, Abel. Now that is the spiritual, and then there's the physical. The ultimate physical would be Christ, right? But then there's a physical to Satan's offspring as well, which would be these Nephilim. That's how I'm understanding that. That's why I think it makes more sense of the whole passage. Now, one could say it's the Antichrist, but now you have to say if it's literal, physical, and you're trying to maintain literal, then now you have to say the devil does something with a woman to create the Antichrist. If it's literal. But now the other positions are all spiritual, yes, physical here, gap here. And there's no literal offspring of Satan. And that's problematic, I think.
No offspring of Satan. But if they were crushed, but if they were destroyed in the flood, then they wouldn't even be around during the time of Christ for him to subdue or defeat.
Well, he's specifically defeating he shall bruise not your offspring's head, but your head.
Satan's. Yeah.
But if we're going back to it, but if we take it that it's not just Satan's head, but Satan's offspring, then it could also refer to, as some people put it, I don't, that the Nephilim that die, their spirits continue to live on, and those are the demons of the New Testament.
Okay. So you're saying the offspring is both physical and spiritual?
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then I go on. And
yeah, but we're not actually okay. So question. So we're not. So Christ is actually God,
yeah.
right? But we are not. We are. We would be considered part of that, right? Seed of Abraham, like sons of God. We're not actually. We're not actually God, or we're not even like we don't have. We have the Holy Spirit within us. But the Pharisees were also called sons of Satan. So is your only reference to the physical being Christ? Because he was God. So he would be like the Son of God.
Well, yeah, but the literal being the fact that he's also man, Galatians 3, he is the offspring, singular, that's referred to. And Danny asked me to see if offspring is singular or plural here. Your seed is here, it's a singular construct.
Yeah.
There are places where it's, but I think it can be singular or plural. It's one of those type of words, but her seed is also singular. But then it develops into this plural, because I think isn't Genesis 12 plural?
Well, that's Paul understands it to be singular in Christ in Galatians. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would agree with that, but there's also like Genesis 17, which your offspring, which descendants. Where's what word am I looking for? Am I looking for Zerah? Is that the word I'm looking for? I guess so.
Right there, yeah.
Which I
to
mean,
your
just
descendants.
yeah. It's
Mhm.
singular as well, so that's interesting. But we always refer to this as descendants.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Yes.
So, but I think when you're looking at this is what one of my old Hebrew teachers was discussing.
Mhm.
I think he helped in Hebrew. It's like a singular that can function as a plural, which is why
Mhm.
I'm pointing to both. Of there's a spiritual, which is plural,
Mhm.
and then there's singular, which is usually like just one,
But
like
if you,
the
okay, so
Christ is
but
the offspring.
if you applied this to Nephilim, that means that they would just die out. That Satan's like physical offspring would die out in at the flood,
Why?
right? But it doesn't mean he's still. But there's still a spiritual offspring in the sense of they they fall after their flesh, just like Christ rebukes the Pharisees in John 8, and he says, "Your father is you do the works of your father, the devil." That continues.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. Why? Here's where I'm missing it.
Mhm.
Uh, why would they have to perish in the flood? Why couldn't it happen again?
So you're saying it could happen like say that's the question I asked you earlier. You're saying it could happen like right now, but you
No,
say
I'm saying that it happened like
after the flood.
after the flood, but I don't think it could necessarily happen again today. I mean, maybe, but I doubt it.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
I need to look at the Septuagint of Genesis 6:4
But
to
even so,
strengthen that argument.
if they perished in the Old Testament, do you think they were around New Testament time?
That's what people are arguing when they say that the demons are the spirits of the Nephilim that died. I don't think so. I think they were all wiped out in all these
Hmm.
wars. I think that's why God
Yeah.
was sending people to wipe out all of these nations. It's a great apologetic point. They had Nephilim blood. They weren't fully image bearers of God. They were these
Hmm.
monstrous giants, and God wanted to destroy the Nephilim blood and that bloodline so that the seed of the woman would not be corrupted. Because that's what they were doing. They were wanting that Satan and his minions were wanting to corrupt the seed so that there could be no seed of the woman.
I see.
And so when I see stuff like, oh, and now this gets weird, but when they when okay, why kill the cattle? Like when Agag was supposed to be killed and Saul keeps him
Hmm.
alive
Hmm.
and he keeps Agag alive and the cattle,
Hmm.
why is that a big deal? Maybe this gets weird. Maybe because the angelic beings, like Enoch says, taught these people how to do weird things, and they could
Interesting.
um, manipulate genetics in a way that they could procreate with
Yeah.
beasts, which would be why in Leviticus they're like, don't do stuff with beasts because there were idiots actually doing it. Um,
Very
so maybe
interesting.
it's possible that centaurs are real and satyrs. Like I mean, like satyr is the word used in the KJV, bro.
Uh huh.
That's the weird side of it where I get like really maybe, but I don't think so. But the point is they had to wipe them all out, man, woman, and child. Why the babies? What'd they do? Why not just take them and raise them as an Israelite? Because that baby had Nephilim blood.
Okay. All right. I suppose. I mean, it could just be all. You could just summarize that very as well, just as God's judgment on the wicked, that they should all be wiped out. And like symbolic of you should have nothing to do with these people. don't even, don't yoke yourself, don't take anything that belongs to them. It's all garbage. Wipe it out. But you still think that there is a quote unquote seed of Satan that continues even today, right? That there are people that live after the flesh, they do desires of, like Ephesians 2 says, we all once did
Yeah.
walk after desires of the flesh, and we're by nature children of wrath.
Yeah, definitely
So they
spiritually.
so we are also physical. So those who follow Satan now are also physical as well as being spiritual,
Well, not like,
right?
not in the sense of that they are the offspring of fallen angels and women. That's what I mean by literal.
Okay.
And I don't
And
think that happens
so you're
anymore.
so you're trying to make a one-to-one correlation that because Christ was both God and man, so Satan also has to have his kind of reduplicate or equivalence of that, or parallel of that. Is that the argument you're
Yes.
trying to make here?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's just,
Oh, there's
I'm,
comments.
yeah. Oh,
What do you say?
man.
What do you say?
Break out the tinfoil hats. Where's Alex Jones? Man,
Oh gosh.
I'm getting slayed, bro. Listen, man, we went an hour and a half. We should do like the Eastern
Crazy.
Orthodox guys and the Muslims and just start shaming everybody for not sending super chats. Wasn't it Jay Dyer? Like, y'all are poor, you don't send super chats. And then there was the other guy who God Logic embarrassed, and he was like, they're,
Yeah. Those guys are crazy.
yeah,
We do not change species and become angels.
that's true.
Yeah, some weird stuff. That's what I'm saying. This leads to some weird stuff. Maybe when Jesus says you're either a son of God or a son of the devil, is that makes sense? Wait, what happened?
Wait,
Is
where
that
is it?
makes sense? Us have Tina and Jeremiah
Oh,
6:51. Does that make us half Nephilims if we're the son of the devil?
no. So this is what I'm talking about. That there's a spiritual. You follow Jesus, Son of God. You're an offspring in that sense. You follow Satan, you're offspring in that sense, spiritual. Literal Nephilim, I don't think they're around anymore, except for maybe, where is that jackwagon? Where is he? This guy. Wait, where? This guy. He's saying spiritual offspring. We know Jamie Russell is a literal offspring. His mother loved angels. Just kidding.
Poor Jamie Russell.
I love Jamie, but we always mess with each other.
So is there any other book that you recommend besides that you have to, what was that book that you said that convinced you? You showed me
So
earlier.
this one, Giant Sons of the Gods by Doug Van Dorn. He's a Reformed Baptist.
Okay.
And I think Michael Heiser does a good job of it. There's obviously a lot of stuff that I disagree with Michael Heiser on. But there's
Like a literal
actually
6-day creation.
do what?
A literal 6-day creation.
What, he don't believe in that?
No.
He don't?
No.
That's crazy.
No. Yeah.
But I'll say this. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. This is really good. You're not gonna like everyone who is in the film, but it's put out by Logos Bible software.
All right.
Okay, Logos is putting out this video called "The Unseen Realm,"
Okay.
and it's got this guy in it, and
Okay.
it's got all kinds of people. You know, it's a great
Interesting.
movie. Anyways, it's a great movie. I encourage people to go watch it. 3.6 million views. If you haven't watched it, what are you doing with your life? It's on the Logos Bible Study app, and that's how you know that what I'm saying is not crazy, because Logos is like a really good app. Oh, he helped fund Logos. Whatever, whatever, Melody, whatever, Melody.
Now,
Melody
I
is
do
being a
think,
hater.
right? I do think that that we don't pay enough attention to the spiritual realm as we ought.
Yeah.
I definitely do think that, and that's why I'm open to the perspective and open to the view. But if you think that it's just angels, it could lead. If you think that then could it happen today? Things like this, it could lead to some very interesting situations, if you know what I mean.
Well, there are people who think it can happen today. They believe in revelation. That's what happens. I mean, maybe. Who knows, bro? Maybe. I'm gonna get really weird. Okay. Oh, Trent Thompson's calling me. Hey, Trent, I'm on live right now. I'm sorry, buddy. I'll call you later. You're probably inviting me to play basketball or something. Um, anyways, maybe the man of lawlessness, the beast, the Antichrist.
Yeah,
Maybe he's a
maybe at the
literal
last
son of the
rebellion.
devil.
Maybe at the last rebellion. Maybe at the last rebellion when Satan is unbound, then he goes out and he procreates with a whole bunch of people.
All right, all right. Melody's not being a hater. I'm sorry. People push back, and that's all right. Y'all can push back. But I love you guys. But if you disagree with me, you're wrong,
You only
because I'm
know what you
always
hold
right.
to if someone is willing to fight you. That's very true. I mean, I think I put up like I made you do your work. I don't think I was just like handing it to you.
Well, I knew that you were going to ask very pointed questions.
Yeah.
So I did study a little bit before this,
Yeah.
and I have a lot of notes.
Yeah.
None
Yeah.
of this isn't from memory. I'm not a smart man.
Oh, I understand that. But so if it was
Oh,
so right,
thanks.
so if it was so if they were just possessing men, then the blood wouldn't necessarily be Nephilim blood. It could still be human blood, but they could be endowed or endued with some kind of, demonic blessing or whatever, where they get some kind of where they grow bigger and things like that.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's entirely possible, and I'm going to encourage people to consider that view, because I would rather you consider that view than the Sethite view, which literally has it's
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
I
I can
don't
see that.
think I
I can
just
see that
don't
now.
think that it can hold its weight exegetically. Now my pastors do,
Really?
and I have a professor who thinks the Sethites view is
So,
correct.
like, what kind of arguments do they make against the sons of God? That they probably argue from New Testament that we are called sons of God. That doesn't necessarily
Well,
have to refer. No, they don't.
no, they haven't. They say I don't know if there was an argument on that word, but they'll argue from the fact that there are genealogies that precede it. And I'm like, my argument with that is, well, yeah, that just makes my point. We're following the seed of the woman and they're trying to corrupt it.
Hmm.
But they're saying, well, no, we're following the seed of the woman, but there's a specific line we're following. And then the other argument was, well, we reproduce according to our kind. And I'm like, well, yeah,
Sure,
but that also makes my argument,
sure.
because how else do these six-fingered giants get here?
Well, I was thinking in the genealogy of, is it Matthew or Luke? Adam is called the son of God in the genealogy of in one of the genealogies of Christ.
Do what? Yeah. Luke. He's called Adam is called the son of God. Yeah.
Yeah.
But my point would just be, I would rather stick with what was known at the time. Job's probably the oldest book. That's what I've read anyways.
Yeah.
So that would have been known. But even if it's not, don't give me Job. What does Moses say? I want to know what Moses says. And when I go to Deuteronomy 32 and it uses this phrase clearly in reference to angelic beings, at least that's how the Septuagint, Clement of Rome, and everyone before Julius Africanus, then I have to take sons of God as meaning angelic beings at that point.
Yeah. You presented a very good argument. And it definitely would make more sense of John 10 as well if Jesus is referring, when he says sons of God, if he's referring to angelic beings. It strengthens his argument for deity, because if he's referring to angelic beings, then he's calling himself is even greater than that.
Right. And if he's just saying God called you men gods, why can't he call me a god? Then it's just the argument just isn't as strong. So basically the argument sounds like this isn't what's being said. I'm a son of God just like you are sons of gods. That's what the Unitarians argue. They'll go to Psalm 82 and say this is about humans, and Jesus is saying I'm a son of God like you're a son of God. And I'm like, no, that's not what he's saying. He's saying he's above and beyond it. He's saying that he is the God who's going to arise and judge the earth, because he said, I and my Father are one.
Yeah. So that's actually a good way to argue against Unitarians and Arians. Even better way, I guess.
Yeah. And that a lot of my beliefs come from fighting. I fight so much that I'll hold up a view, and if it gets beat up, I'm like, what was wrong with my argument? And I listen to debates so much that I find the best arguments, and they somehow mesh together into a cohesive system.
Somehow.
Some people say that they don't.
Well, I think if your argument can't hold up to debate, then either one of two things: either you're not doing a very good job at presenting your argument, or it's not a good argument. And most of the time, it's because it's not a good argument. It's very little that I've seen people debate an actual good argument and the argument not stand up because they're not doing a very good job at presenting it.
I have an argument that I used in a debate that I would like to get your opinion on.
Yeah, go ahead. Shoot.
Because admittedly, commentaries really argue on this. I gotta find it. It's from my cross-examination with the Unitarian.
Melody asks, have you debated this on SFT?
No, I haven't. There is no one who has the intellectual fortitude and charisma to debate me on this. No, I haven't. If anyone knows someone who would debate me on this, I would be happy to do so. I think it would be fun because this is such a minor issue.
Yeah, it
like,
is.
Dude,
yeah.
If I couldn't have fun with somebody and call them a brother and people get mad about it afterwards, then dude, we got problems if we can't disagree on this silly little issue. But anyways,
I've seen Nephilim. Wait, it happened again after the flood. It's happening today. It's hidden. And I've seen Nephilim and also have heard testimony.
Oh no, bro. I ain't even gonna
Big Press says, I think Michael Heiser ate a whole pizza before bed after watching Damien Amen, and that's how he came up with this view. Okay.
All right, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna
run your argument. Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna share my screen. Hold on. Is this it? No, it's 48. I was like, this don't look right. Okay. All right. So listen to me, O Jacob and Israel, whom I called. I am he, I am the first and the last. This would be
Yeah.
Jehovah.
God. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My hand laid the foundation of the earth. My right hand spread out the heavens. When I call to them, they stand forth together. God, right?
Yes.
Assemble all of you and listen. Who among them has declared these things? The Lord loves him. The him is Cyrus, but that's beside the point. He shall perform his purpose on Babylon, and his arm shall be against the Chaldeans. I, even I, have spoken and called him. Who's the I here?
The Lord.
The Lord. All right, I brought him, he will prosper in his way. Draw near to me, hear this. From the beginning, I have not spoken in secret. From the time it came to be, I have been there. Who's the I that hasn't spoken in secret and has been there?
Oh, okay. So this would be, so this would be the Messiah. This had to be the Messiah.
And he says, and now the Lord God has sent me
Yeah.
and his spirit. So there's a Yahweh who's sending, there's a Yahweh that's sent, and there is the spirit.
Yeah.
I brought that to the Unitarian, bro, and he didn't know what to do with it.
I imagine.
Because he said, I don't know who the me is. I said, really? It's not the same me as in the I, who's not spoken in secret and who has been there from the time it came to be, the one who has called Cyrus, the same I that's been I the whole context. That's not me.
Yeah.
Now, admittedly, there are commentaries that say all of a sudden
it could be a switch here.
Isaiah switches and starts talking.
Yeah. Oh,
and then,
Isaiah.
Yeah.
Really?
And then goes back and says, thus says the Lord, your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. So he just out of nowhere, he pops up and says, oh, by the way, God sent me and his spirit. Thus says the Lord. And he continues. Like, why would you interrupt your speech to say that? Like, if you notice, the quotations end there and begin there.
Yeah.
And then begin again here. It's really weird how the ESV puts the quotes, but there's no reason for them to be there because it's one continual thought. But I don't know. What do you think of that?
Some think it's Isaiah, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see no reason for it to be Isaiah there because we have I. Where is the clarification that this is I, Isaiah, and not I, the Lord?
Right. I don't understand how the Lord could be speaking the whole time and then literally in this one phrase, it switches to Isaiah speaking and then the Lord speaks again. Like it's.
Now drop down a little bit to like the verses 19. Your offspring. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would say that's the angel of the Lord or the Messiah, because we see throughout the book of Isaiah that God's always talking about his suffering servant, and he's gonna come, his spirit is in him, and things of these nature.
Yeah.
I don't understand how else you could interpret that. I definitely wouldn't interpret to be Isaiah. I think it says right there, though, from the beginning have I not spoken, from the time it came to be, I have been there.
Yeah.
And now the Lord has sent me.
And I think that this whole time, Yahweh, Jehovah, has been speaking, but then he makes a distinction between the persons here.
Okay, that makes sense too, because he says, "Lord God, the Lord God has sent me." Not just the Lord, but the Lord God has sent me and His Spirit. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of times we have, I don't know. I think it just,
It sounds very much like it sounds very much honestly like what is it in Proverbs? Is it Proverbs 6 or Proverbs where we have wisdom being personified and speaking? I was with the Lord from the beginning. I spoke and created, things like this.
yeah, I think
Is
it's
it
Proverbs
Proverbs
8.
8? Okay.
The problem I have with Proverbs 8
Hmm.
is it's a girl. And this channel is a He-Man Woman Haters Club. So we got to kick Melody out. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. The He-Man Woman Haters Club. No, but in all seriousness, I struggle. I understand that this has been used to see Christology and to see
Yeah.
eternal generation,
Uh,
but I don't think we should use it for that. I don't,
well, drop down.
but I know why we
The
do.
place where is this the no right here, right? I wisdom dwell with prudence, I find knowledge. Wait, I have counsel. By me kings reign. Where's the part where it talks about
Right here.
the Lord possessed me? There it is. At the beginning of his work, the act of his ages ago I was set up. Okay.
Now, here's the reason why I don't like this.
Hmm.
This being not the verse, but using this verse to talk about Jesus is because that's what the Arians do. The Arians and the
Yeah.
Jehovah Witnesses bring this text up to me and say, "See, he was created,"
Okay.
because it'll say like the Septuagint literally says created, and I'm like,
Okay.
well, first off, this is wisdom, which is a woman.
Yeah.
Second off, if you don't want to accept that, that this is about a woman and you want to make it about Jesus and say he's a creation, well, you have to understand this in light of the eternal generation of the Son, which is not creation, but an eternal begottenness,
Correct.
where because the Lord's wisdom is going to be as eternal as the Lord is.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I fight with both swords there. Anytime I
Interesting.
fight a Jehovah Witness, because I don't want to give them any ground.
But I would say it sounds very much like that link, like that in Isaiah, the text you had just had sounds very
Yeah.
much like that, where it's like God is talking, well, wisdom is he's kind of being personified. Yeah, saying I was with the Lord.
And I do think there's something with these sort of wisdom type passages
Hmm.
because Jesus is called like the wisdom of God. He's called wisdom. And then when you look at, oh boy, I gotta find it. There's a text in
Well,
like
go down to verse 14. Like, so what does this mean here? We think when it says, I have counsel and sound wisdom, I have insight. By me, kings reign and rulers decree what is just. Uh, I love those who love me, and those who seek me diligently find me.
yeah. I
Is that
think
not
that
like, would that not be, is that not God? Is that not, could that not, that's God, right? Seek me and you will find me.
so I think there's a reason that early church used this text. Like the Arians and the eternal generation guys, the Trinitarians,
Yeah.
fought over this text. This is where the battleground was. And
Yeah.
there's a reason why. But sometimes I'm like, I don't necessarily know why, because yeah, it's personifying wisdom. And if we
Mhm.
just take it to be wisdom, um, seeking, well, I don't know, seeking counsel and sound wisdom. I guess it's just saying this
You could say like it
personification.
switches, like it starts off as a woman talking, but then
Yeah.
but then you could argue it switches here, right? It switches here to it's like this is the word, right? This is the logos talking.
Yeah. That's entirely possible. But like this verse is kind of difficult because, but again, just I'm remembering as personification of wisdom. But kings reign by wisdom, rulers decree what is just by using wisdom, princes rule wisely by wisely, and nobles, all who govern justly, do so with wisdom. And those who seek wisdom will find wisdom, and that's why you're going to get riches and honor if you're living a wise life. So I don't necessarily think we have to go here against them. We can.
Okay.
I don't think it's necessary, especially in light of this being Proverbs, right? It's not a
Sure.
prophetic
Sure.
text. It's kind of like lumped in there with the Psalms and stuff, to where it's like very poetic and stuff. So I don't know. But let me say this, in like Baruch 3 or something, it talks about, I think it was wisdom or the Lord's word or something, dwelling with God and then coming down to dwell with men. So like in the intertestamental period, they're wrestling with texts like Proverbs 8. And they're like, there's something more to it than just a personification. And they're starting to see it as, maybe this is an actual figure. And then that in the New Testament, that is expounded upon. And he's like, well, you guys almost have it. Let me show you. This is all talking about Jesus. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
both work.
So it's like, this is how it was read to be. This is how it was written by the author, and then this is the type, or this is the fulfillment of it, kind of like the higher allegory of the text. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much. And actually, let me. I'm gonna look it up because I'm working on this Christology book, and I hope I haven't been writing in the copy, because I made a copy. I need to delete
Christology
that copy.
book.
Yeah,
you're reading it.
I'm writing it.
You're writing a Christology book.
Yeah, because I'm an arrogant idiot and think I can actually do it.
What? How many sources are, like, how long is this going to be? How many sources are you using?
I mean, so far I've used 45 sources, and it's only like a 37-page Google Doc.
Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna use a lot of sources.
What, just defending deity of Christ, or what in particular? Or just everything?
A little bit of everything. It's not gonna be perfect, and it's not gonna be like in toto by any means.
Okay.
Okay. But I think I talked about this in John 1, because there's an interesting argument about why Matthew 28, 8:19, the name is Yahweh, which is the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. But I'm trying to find. So in this book, I'm refuting Dr. Dustin Smith, the Unitarian. And
I've heard of him.
He tries to go to these other sources to show wisdom literature is like trying to show that Jesus is just a personification, because it's absolutely insanity. Like he'll say the Logos is just the persona, like Jesus is just the Logos by predication, like he's acting as this. And then what I try to show,
he's a created being, so he believes it's created being.
He believes that Jesus is just a human.
Just a human.
Oh yeah.
That exists in the Old Testament. Or no. Or
that
he's a human that existed in the Old Testament or New Testament only?
Just New Testament.
Wow.
Pretty insane, huh?
Okay, that's crazy. Yeah.
So in this text it says I'm gonna because actually this talks about the Nephilim too, but I'm gonna skip it. We'll start here. Who hath gone up into heaven? What does that sound like to you? who is
Christ
ascended.
descending. Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds like
yeah.
in yeah. Mhm.
Except the Son of Man who is descended.
Yes, John
So
John 1. Yeah.
he's talking about wisdom. And he said, who has gone up into heaven and taken her wisdom and brought her wisdom down from the clouds? Who has passed
Mhm.
over the sea and found her wisdom and brought her preferably to chosen gold? There is none that is able to know her ways, nor that can search out her paths. But he that knoweth all things knoweth her. And who
Mhm.
is that one? The one that has gone up into heaven and
Yeah.
came down, Jesus.
Yeah.
Um, and hath found her out with his understanding. He that prepared the earth forevermore and filled it with cattle and four-footed beasts. Check this out. So this creator who knows all things, he sendeth forth light, and it goeth and hath called it, and it obeyeth with him with trembling. And the stars have given light in their watches and rejoiced. They were called, and they said, here we are, and with cheerfulness they have shined forth to him that made them. This is our God, and there shall no other be accounted of in comparison of him. He found out all the way of knowledge and gave it to Jacob his servant and to Israel his beloved. Afterwards he was seen upon the earth and conversed with men. That seems
Yep.
clear.
Yep.
Incarnation. This is
Yep.
all about Jesus. And this man, Dustin Smith, has the audacity to say that this intertestamental period book, it's not inspired, but that it was that the New Testament authors are just using it to say, oh, Jesus is just a man who resembles God. No, this is the God who created all, who knows all things, and was seen upon the earth afterwards and conversed with
Yeah.
men.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Not only that, but he has to explain the angel of the Lord passages, because the angel of the Lord is basically called God, but he's also seen as distinct from Yahweh, from the Lord.
I need to copy this and put it into a Google Doc, because I've never explained it all like that, and that's really, really good. So we're gonna put that in a Google Doc real quick, and I'm gonna throw that in the book.
Baruch is part of the Apocrypha.
Yes, sir. I
Okay.
think so.
Okay.
I don't have that in my Bible because I ain't a heretic.
What? That's funny. Oh man.
Oh yeah. So what they'll say about the angel of the Lord is that the angel of the Lord is just a shiliach. He's a messenger of God, but he's not really God. So he can
Yeah,
speak on behalf of God.
that's so easily defeatable. It's not
Yeah.
even it's crazy, because we see the angel of the Lord appear to several people. We see him appear to Gideon. We see him appear to the parents of parents of Samson, and each time they recognize him as God.
They worship him,
Yeah.
offer sacrifices to him. And then in Hebrews 6, it says, or no, not
And
6.
to Joshua, by the way.
Yeah. But in Hebrews, it says Hatheos swore by himself. Because, you know, a lot of people will like to make the distinction. Well, it doesn't say the God. So it could have been like, you know, a lesser being. I'm like, no, this is the God swore by himself, because there was no one greater to swear by. And that's in
Mhm.
Genesis 22. When the angel of the Lord is speaking, he swore by himself.
Yeah.
And somehow, I don't understand Unitarians. They're sad.
I understand oneness less. They're even worse. Oneness are even worse.
Well, at least oneness people believe that Jesus is God to some extent.
Yeah, but then they don't believe they believe he's talking to himself. They believe he's praying to himself. They believe in their God is schizophrenic. He's praying to himself in the garden, you know, not my will, but my will be done.
and they make Christologically it's really bad. They are Apollinarians essentially.
If it is possible, let this, if it what he prayed to himself, me is, how you say that, like, if it is possible, can I take this cup from myself? Nevertheless, not my will, but my will be done.
Yeah, you're right. They might be
which
worse.
is more loony. Which is more loony.
Wow. Yeah. But see, guys, this is why I love having people on this channel. This is why I love doing this. We love talking about a variety of topics. And everything that we do has some sort of apologetic significance. Even with this weird discussion we just had. So I would encourage you guys like and subscribe to either channel, both channels, if you're not subscribed to both. And please support us. You can do that for me by going to kentonindustries.com and using promo code Twitchy15, or you could go to snakecrusherproducts.online and use promo code Twitchy25 for 25% off. They got the best beard oil ever, and tattoo balm, all kinds of other great stuff. So please check them out.
There you go.
Yeah. And pray for me. I got a recovery rally I'm doing Monday. I'm basically speaking 2 sessions for that. It's kind of like a little conference.
Okay.
And if you sub to me, who is this? Is she trustworthy?
Will you let me in? Yeah, Melody.
Yeah.
She's
All right,
she's
we'll
a
take
mod
the
in my
sign.
channel. Yeah.
We'll take the sign down that says He-Man Woman Haters Club. We'll let you in. Come on over. And maybe you could be a mod on my channel too. You know, I need more mods because my
She's all over the
mods,
place. Yeah.
my mods freaking harass me. Look at this guy. He's been harassing me this whole time. He's my pastor and my mod. And he's been talking about how crazy I am.
Oh, that's your pastor.
Yeah.
No wonder he speaks to you like that.
There'll be extra trash taking out duties today, boys. I'm a pastoral intern, so I'm basically like the
I know. Yeah.
Church slave.
Yeah.
Not really.
Been there, done that.
All right. Well, I gotta hop off here. I gotta go do some Hebrew.
Yep.
But great stream.
Yeah. Good convo. Yes, definitely.
And until next time, you stay twitchy, internet.